All right, let's get right into it. We're going to tear down one of the biggest myths out there, this idea that you have to be some kind of born genius to be successful. We're about to see why that's just not true.
Have you ever found yourself looking at someone who's achieved something amazing and just thought, what's their secret? What do they have that I don't? It really feels like some people just get a special key to success handed to them, right?
Well, here's the breakdown. The myth, the story we all hear, is that it's about innate talent. You either have it or you don't. But the reality, the thing that actually makes the difference, it's way simpler and honestly, way more powerful. They just don't quit when things get hard. And that's the bottom line. The thing that sets these people apart isn't some gift they were born with. It's a choice they make every single day. And that's the good news, because that means it's a choice that's available to all of us. So let's start with the internal engine that drives everything else. I'm talking about mindset. This has nothing to do with what you're born with and everything to do with how you decide to think. Okay, check this out. Think about how they handle negativity. When people laugh, when people doubt them and say, you'll never do that, most of us would probably feel that sting, maybe even back down. But they take that ridicule and you know what? They turn it into fuel. It literally becomes the energy that pushes them to prove everyone wrong. And what about failure? For so many of us, failure feels like hitting a brick wall. Game over. For them, it's not an obstacle. It's more like a textbook. They don't just get knocked down by it, they pick it apart, piece by piece, to figure out the lesson inside. And look, this isn't some kind of superpower. It's a system or repeatable strategy. First, you just accept the mistake, no shame. Second, you dig in and learn the lesson. Why did it happen? Third, you use that new info to adjust your plan. And fourth, this is the most important one, you get back up and you try again. Rejection is another huge one. They hear no just as much as anybody, probably even more often, but they don't hear it as a final verdict. To them, a no is just a sign that this particular door is closed, which means it's time to go find the next one, the next opportunity. So if you could look at their mental dashboard, it'd look a little something like this. Resilience, off the charts. That ability to bounce back is everything. Their belief in just plain hard effort, just as high. But look at what's low, the fear of failure. It's still there, probably, but it is not in the driver's seat. But look, a great mindset is only half the battle. It doesn't mean anything without action. It's not enough to think differently. The real game changer is when you start to do things differently. So let's get into the habits that really move the needle. You know that point in any tough project? That moment where the doubt creeps in, where it gets really, really hard? That's it. That's the inflection point. And that is the exact moment where most people decide they've had enough, and they stop. They just keep going. I mean, that's it. It's so simple, but it's so incredibly powerful. They aren't always the smartest person, or the fastest, or the most talented, but they're very often the last one standing, just because they didn't walk away when it got tough. So their playbook is all about being proactive. They don't sit around waiting for opportunities, they go out and make them. They don't wait until they feel 100% ready, because let's be real, that day never comes. They're busy running their own race, not looking at what everyone else is doing. And, this one's key, they absolutely know the difference between taking a much-needed rest and quitting for good. And if you map it out, this journey of perseverance pretty much always looks the same. Everybody starts from zero. Success is built on those small, consistent steps you take every day. Setbacks and failure, yeah, they're not just possible, they're inevitable. But the crucial part is what comes next. You learn from it, and you restart. You do that enough times, and that's when you finally get the breakthrough. So after all that, what's the real secret? Let's boil everything we've just talked about down to its absolute essence. And honestly, it's way, way simpler than you've been led to believe. It all comes down to one single choice that you have to make over and over and over again. And that choice is to simply not give up. That one decision is the bedrock for every mindset trick, every habit we just talked about. It's the commitment to stay in the game long enough to see your hard work pay off. And what fuels that choice? It's knowing this one simple truth. The sting from an effort that failed, that's temporary. But the weight of regret from never even trying in the first place, that can stick with you for a lifetime. They're not driven by some guarantee of success, they're driven by avoiding the certainty of regret. So the real question this leaves us with isn't about talent, it's about a choice. What choice are you gonna make today? Are you going to take that small step, make that one attempt and risk that it might not work out? Or are you going to choose to do nothing and maybe one day regret wondering what could have been? The choice is all yours.